The year was 2025. The world stood on the edge of a new era, and at the center of it all, a man who reshaped entire nations with nothing more than his voice and a penchant theatrics. Donald J. Trump had returned. After winning yet another election, he didn't just take the oath of office. No, he took something far greater. An empire. A union unlike anything Earth had ever seen.
The speeches that followed were legendary.
Folks, we've made history. The biggest merger, the greatest deal.
There was nothing funny about what came next, because history doesn't always end with applause. Sometimes, it ends with war. The Union was powerful. Too powerful. And like any star, it burned too bright. And for too long.
Captain Kirk, I've heard tremendous things about you. Tremendous. Well, let me tell you, I am the captain now.
The future of Earth, the fate of Starfleet, and the course of human history, all balanced on a single moment. Because in 2025, one man changed everything.
We hereby proclaim that I am Lord God, Master of the Universe. On your knees before me!
Space, the final conquest. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission, to discover and subjugate strange new worlds, to advance our dominion and vanquish all who stand against us, to conquer the galaxy for the glory of the Empire.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, in whatever realms of existence you're in, whatever mind states you're in, whatever conditions you're in. As always, you're welcome to my channel. Welcome to the Ocean of the Vow. I am, of course, your host, Shakugankai, and with this next part or next video, I just wanted to pick up on something that's just happened. When I was talking about how, we are in the mirror universe in this, in our own universe in the Star Trek. As far as Star Trek universe, if we were going to be in the fictionalized Star Trek universe, our universe is the mirror universe. Our universe, without changing any aspect of history, without changing a thing, we are the mirror universe. And would have that future. And, and because I had kind of before, even come to this conclusion about that we are the mirror universe in the Star Trek universe. I had already kind of seen in the nearish future or a possibility in the future that we would wind up eventually with a kind of techno-feudalistic, high-tech feudalistic colossus empire with the various major powers of the world just kind of merging, kind of in the way it's portrayed in Firefly as well, but with that merging of all the powers, and it being kind of feudalistic, possibly monarchistic, and without it being monarchistic, if you see what I mean. Without it being obviously monarchistic, that where basically it would just democracy, so-called democracies, would be just become increasingly going to become increasingly more managed democracies, and more managed democracies. Not that I'm necessarily against that, actually. I just am against because on one hand, I think power and wealth and everything else should be decentralized, and because people can't handle it in this late stage of the declining Kalpa, and the time we're in and going into in Mappo. It's just human beings can't handle the power. So anyone with any kind of leadership power should just be as small as you can get it to be. That's kind of what I think. And also human beings individually can't handle power, and so their human beings individual freedoms should be limited as well. But anyway, because we're just clowns, we're just complete idiots at this point. But none of that will ever happen. And anyway, so what I was saying was that I could foresee a scenario where democracy will become increasingly more managed. We're going to have further wars, no matter how at the present it looks like a certain world leader is looking like he's going to stop certain world wars. It's just because those are useless now, and there's other ones that are more useful to the powers that be, as it were. So there's just going to be continued war like that. There's going to be a third world war, and democracy will become increasingly managed, and that's kind of what I kind of foresaw as things becoming increasingly authoritarian. And it'll still have the trappings and offices and titles and things of a democracy, and governing bodies that sound like they're in a democracy, but it won't be a democracy. It'll just be kind of managed, more and more centralized, more and more managed, techno-feudal governing bodies, ever centralizing into one eventually, which is what they've been trying to do in various ways for a long time. But it's a fail. The one way they've been trying it is a completely failed. The Strange New World version that they had in mind and that they were heading for, using kind of left-wing trappings, communism and socialism as just the trappings of it, didn't really work. The woke stuff, the all that stuff just doesn't work anymore. All the trying to the racism stuff and all that stuff that they've been trying to use to gain that kind of world government eventually, it just hasn't worked. So they're switching tactics now. They're switching tactics to a more let's call it a more Roman model, a more event. So, well, down the road, that's what it'll be. But they're switching to a more, trappings of conservative stuff and trappings of more traditional stuff. But it's just, they're just switching tactics. It's not anything sincere. There's no sincerity about their, there may be individuals that are sincere, but by and large, even the ones that are sincere are just so lacking in virtue and integrity, really on the inside, that it amounts to nothing. Even if they have sincerely tried to have and have good values and more traditional kind of conservative values, it just won't amount to anything, and that's not the ones who are running things, who are truly running things. They're just switching tactics because their other tactics didn't work now, so they've got to go to a slower model and a more seemingly conservative, seemingly traditionalist thing, and it's still going to be just neocon stuff. It's still ultimately, and anyway, so it's just going to get more. Will just be managed in a different way. It'll just be managed democracy, increasingly more authoritarian managed democracy in a different way. And eventually, it will be like a, there'll be the governors. You'll have the governors will actually be like what, colonial kind of, what governors used to be, with the original title of governors. They'll just, govern autocratically their territories and regions or states or areas or what have you. And you'll have, you'll have the Senate and in Congress or parliaments, but they'll just be, it'll be kind of like it used, like it was in Rome, the Senate, it really, the Roman Empire, what the Senate was like in the Roman Empire, when it had an emperor, it'll be like that. It'll be the offices and the trappings, but it won't actually be a democracy. So yeah, and just now, and so it becoming more and more, techno-feudalistic, and with, the thing is that royals, those that of family nobility of the royals in various countries still own a lot of things. They still own huge influential corporate interests, huge, and so they're just that's kind of part of the system that's going to be. It just is eventually it will be a more things are going to be run more like where there's nobles in charge and a monarch and an emperor or whatever, and that's kind of how it's going to be. That's just and just recently that I just heard, that's how I kind of foresee, in the next maybe 100 years, that's what it's going to wind up looking like in this late stage, this beginnings of Mappo that we're in, the 500 year period of Mappo. It's going to be like that. It's going to be that's going to be the future. And anyway, so just recently, and the person that I could see ushering something like that in is in power right now. Is a major power now, and the thing is, and he's in power of the current main power of the world. Different powers in the world were the economically dominant for about 80 to 100 years. And the current power has had that. And there's the mini cycles, the turnings, the four turnings that are talked about, like in a 70-year or a 100-year kind of cycle, and that's kind of coming to that's happening now too. And so the wow, there's so much to talk about this, but the current power that has had its sort of 80 to 100 years, or probably has about had its 100 years of dominance, economic dominance, was at the brink of losing that, and now someone's in charge of that power that I really could see ushering in the kind of corporate techno-feudal techno-feudal type future. I really could see this person being the beginnings of that, especially with the team he's amassed around him in his cabinet. I could completely see that, kind of happening eventually. And people even joke about it. They call him the emperor. They call him So, and you see images like that of him, of being as a kind of king or emperor. So, and then recently this leader was asked by the king of, now this is another thing, by the king of a certain country that, a king of a certain country that is the royals of this particular country are considered by all the other royals the central royalty. All the other royals of the world kind of see this royal family as the central figures, and this. Well, I shouldn't be saying, I'm talking about the King of England. I'm talking about the King of England. I don't know why I'm trying to couch it, and I'm talking about Trump as the figure that's in power now of the American empire that has had its 80 to 100 years, and he's trying to kind of they're trying now a different tact, like I said, to what the new economic power is going to be. See, I guess I'll just say it. The British Empire really never fell. America is the most current aspect of the British Empire. Okay, and recently the king, sent, I guess, through the prime minister or Starmer, a secret letter about becoming, about America becoming part of the Commonwealth. And now they're going to make that an official, invitation. So I just found that out. I was like, you got to be kidding me with the way I kind of see the future heading. That was just like, wow. I just was like, wow, that is very confirming. Now, and Trump said, yeah, I love the King of England. I think that's a great idea. Him saying that, there could be some kind of other agenda, because he's nice to people that, it could be part of his 3D chess or his diplomacy or whatever, his style, because he's done that before. He's nice and very cordial and diplomatic with people that you would think would be, would be very different, have very different views to them. So it could be just something like that, where he's just doing his thing. But I could equally see it actually happening for the first time. This is not something at any other decade or any other era I had foreseen, or could see happen. I have foreseen it happening, but not now, and not this early, not this soon. It's not something in any other era I could have foreseen, or not foreseen. I did foresee it happening, but could have seen actually it coming about. And it just, I was like, wow, when it did, and I heard that, that invitation went out from the king. I was like, okay, wow. So it's just kind of confirming of things. If he goes through with it, I think he's going to have, that would be something, because I think there's going to be certain factions in his base that won't be very keen on that, very much against that. So, I was kind of blown away when I was like, wow, yep, I could see it happening. I could actually see it kind of coming together, the inviting America to become part of the Commonwealth, and it actually happening now. Whereas before I couldn't ever see that. Before now, I couldn't see it being a possibility, but now I could see it, and it just gelled all the other things that I saw as a possibility in my mind even further. So yeah. interesting developments, very interesting developments. As I say, I don't know why I was trying to couch it and be all indirect about who and what I was talking about earlier. I think I was just trying to avoid, things, I don't know, being, affecting the algorithm in some way, let's just say. So anyways, but I could actually see that happening. And this is a whole nother topic too, of generally as a Buddhist, I am a monarchist. I am a royalist. As a Buddhist, but in these days and times, in this stage of the declining Kalpa, the best you can hope for is for it to be constitutional monarchy, which is what the UK is, which is what most monarchies are now in Western countries at least, and in other parts of the world now. Bhutan famously becoming more of a constitutional monarchy in the past, I don't know, decade or two at some point, but and other places. So you don't. That's the best because they need to be checked as well. Unfortunately, they can't. Just because of if they're born now, if royals and monarchs are born at this stage of the declining Kalpa, then obviously they're going to be lacking in virtue and integrity and so on and so forth, like the rest of us. So you can't. The best you can hope to be as a royalist in this time period is a constitutional monarchist, which is what I am, essentially. So I have mixed feelings about the prospect of America becoming a part of the Commonwealth. I've kind of been a supporter of that in certain ways, and in other ways I'm like, just because of the times we live in, there could be all kinds of agendas with that happening. So anyway, it's just very interesting, very, very interesting developments. And, just on the heels, the next day after I made that video, which I might just splice into this one, the previous part of this video, we could say, or, the previous video or the previous part of this episode, we could call it. This takes place. It was just like, what? So anyway, thanks for listening, and until next time, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda.
Our entire assault fleet wiped out. If the Defiant hadn't arrived when it did, all of you would be among them. And who are we to blame for this? Not the brave men and women who gave their lives for the Empire. Criminals who are losing this war are sitting in their comfortable offices back at Starfleet Command. Their weakness invited our enemies to strike, and their corruption and arrogance have brought the Empire to the brink of defeat. And I will not stand by and let these people destroy an empire that has endured for centuries. With your help, I will return to Earth and restore the Empire to its former glory. Let us advance where the omens of the gods and the crimes of our enemies summon us. The die is now cast. Long live the Empire! Long live the Empire!
No, thank you very much.
Beg pardon, but would you be Miss Warwick Harrow?
Sir, Warwick Harrow. The sash.
The sash.
It indicates lordhood.
And it's doing a great job.